So I'm going to talk. The talk I'm going to give today is called "Living a Life on Ethereum," and I'm going to go on a journey with you. I might be a bit ranty. Apologies. So I usually end with this slide. I don't agree with American politics normally, but an American politician said this. And I just want to leave it here for a second. It makes me happy to think about these things. So hi, I'm Mischa. I'm a computer geek. I'm a privacy nerd. I'm the reason why bbc.co.uk has no social tracking on it, and the NHS in the UK. I used to do web standards. I'm a web guy. Really boring, hey? And yeah, I have a PhD in computer science and all that boring stuff. I've done quite a few businesses. I've been involved in 4 startups. I've sold 2, one to an evil company, which I quit the day they bought. And I failed twice after raising the biggest seed round in London, which is also quite fun. And then about a year and a half ago, a couple of people, the founders of TokenCard, approached me with a really crazy idea. So I'm going to kind of take you down this journey. So hi, hello. All right, hi, guys. I guess most importantly, I'm an optimist and I love the future. So I want to kind of just focus on the future a bit. So TokenCard is an Ethereum project. We crowdfunded in early May 2017. We're based in London. We're part of the FCA Sandbox Co-op 4. So I'm quoting myself here, so this quote in italics isn't of anyone important. So TokenCard is the first non-custodial direct-to-consumer experience that enables payment in the real world. And I'll kind of explain what that means throughout the course of this. And I just want to reinforce, we allow you to hold your assets, your Ethereum tokens, your ETH, without us having any access to it, whilst giving you a seamless experience to spend that in the real world. And I think that's pretty cool. So we're around 20 people. So we've been around for about 2 years building stuff. We haven't been speaking publicly about what we do. We haven't been spending money on marketing. We don't like talking about things before delivering things. So we're just starting to tell our story now. So thanks, ethldn, for letting us speak. So I guess I believe we're building a viable alternative to consumer banking with no central entity which holds all of your money. So something which Mel tells me at times, which I get kind of excited about, is this idea that you spend all your life working, you make money, you give it to someone, they choose how to invest that money, how to spend it. And I guess, yeah, why not challenge these things? So this is a little aside about decentralization. Anyone who tells you that as a company they're decentralized is fobbing you off, and you can quote, well, don't quote me on that. I think no company is truly decentralized. I guess where we have maintained decentralization in a credible way is within our relationship with our users. We have no access to our users' funds, and that's kind of cool. And just to be clear, there are other crypto cards out there in the market. Coinbase has released one recently. There's a couple other ones. All of them have access to your funds. They are all custodians of your funds. They do e-money in an unregulated space. Anyway, we'll get to that. I don't knock other people. Good on them. So what have we achieved so far? So we believe that the fundamental problem for making Ethereum real and allowing people to use it in the real world is this usability of security. And I think there's 2 main issues which need to be solved and tackled by businesses or experiences. One is if your key gets compromised, that means of a bad actor getting hold of your key, and we think we have some nice solutions around this. And the next one is the loss of key, which we don't have a solution in place for at the moment, but we think about these things. And we hope that someone will have a nice solution for this. We've also made the token spendable in the real world, which is kind of cool. And we're very keen, if we're going to be challenging banking, I'm personally really keen on building experience which is participatory. And I'll allude to this later on. If you're going to disrupt a system which is incredibly centralized and build an alternative, why do it in a way, why not challenge where the growth goes or where the uplift goes from a new business model? So this concept of participation is something which I'll touch on later. So this is really boring, and you guys all know this, but we're going to go back, Genesis block. Bless you. So there's a Genesis block, and it's mainly gobbledygook. And I guess for the keen eye, or people would know what we're doing, there was all this bits here. People are like, what were all these bits? And just to bring it home, it was the front cover of the Times on the 3rd of Jan, which is my birthday, which kind of talks about the Chancellor on the brink of second bailout. So banking industry collapsed 2008, subprime mortgages, whatever it is, got duped by auditors. And that money kind of fell out in society. Again, this is not fact, this is opinion by me, and you can beat me up about it afterwards. So this technology which brought on, and the predecessors to things like Ethereum, had this concept of challenging this status quo, and this is something which we feel very strongly about as a project. So again, I said this is quite ranty, and I'm going to get to the tech later, and I can actually show you all the tech, and it's all immutable and publicly auditable on chain, which is kind of exciting. So problem with banking, from my perspective, is the profits are for the few, and the losses are socialized. And this does my head in. There's just some nice stats. And again, I'm rabbit holing, and this is all conjecture, and this is opinion, so don't beat me up about it, but we can talk about this in the pub. Don't focus on these things. But there's more homelessness around. London is just full of it. And young people just don't trust anyone anymore. And why are these, why does this exist? So we're trying to build a consumer banking experience. I can't say that we're building a consumer bank, because we're not. So from my perspective, or from our perspective, if you look at consumer banking, they look after your money, they make sure it's safe, they make your money spendable when you need to spend it, they grant you credit leverage from a fraction of your neighbor's money for profit, and they just gamble your money. And given that the core use cases which affect users are looking after your money, making it spend safe, and making your money spendable, I think these are two use cases which we're going down a journey where we can give you a credible alternative to. I guess my dream is to be able to sack off my bank account and hold all of my cash in my Ethereum wallet, but I guess we're not there yet. So not only do I think that consumer banking is in conflict with consumer interests, I think the incentive model is fundamentally misaligned, and it's not only misaligned, it's in direct conflict. Any profit made by banks to go to their shareholders are taken away from money and profit which should be going to their consumers who are putting up that money. It just seems fundamentally broken. So why am I here? I'm at ETH London, and we've built something on Ethereum. And I guess the reason why I can stand here and say all of this stuff credibly and look myself in the mirror afterwards and kind of not die of shame is because we have something like, I think what I like people calling it the world computer, the trust computer, this new distributed, decentralized platform of computation, which is Ethereum. And some properties of this new computer allows me to say what I'm saying now, I think credibly. So our nature of the relationship between me and my users and the fact that I can't touch my users' money is immutable and observable and auditable publicly on a chain. And that means when I say stuff like, you don't have to trust me when I say, I can't touch your money, that's true. And that, conceptually, the affordances which Ethereum has given to the world and to application developers like me is novel and kind of gets me excited. And also, it's a platform, so there's an economy out there. There are other people building stuff. There are dApps. There are other things there in this ecosystem. It's not just a chain for me, which I've built for you to trust. And all of these things are interesting. And yeah, someone put this picture of the world up, and it made me smile. So I guess this is what makes me excited. What happens if there's a shift? How can we bring about that shift? How do we make ownership real? So if you think about the economy in this platform, which we talk about Ethereum, so we're on the dawn of this new economy. I think projects like DigX and Maker excite us. Maker is a system, a collateralized loan system, which pegs to the dollar with no central entity having to do any management, and that's kind of cool. I think the properties which DAI have and MakerDAO has is very exciting. DigX, as a project, where they're tokenizing gold and putting it on chain, has made a token which is backed by something real and has made gold for the first time fungible and divisible by, in 256s, which is quite a lot of divisibility, and has made gold instantly pingable around the world. I guess all of these things are really cool. So this new economy, which is built on tech rather than implied trust. So the trust is in the technology. And sure, with DigX, because there's a gap between the digital representation of gold and what's actually living in their vaults, which they audit, there is some trust there, just like there's some trust in the relationship between users and us, and I'll talk about where that trust comes in. So this tokenized future we believe in. We hope that this economy will flourish over time. And we're trying to add some value to it. So, yeah, my dad was really into Pink Floyd. I think it's cool. And it came up in Google. So TokenCard has no access to your assets. You don't have to worry what will happen if leadership changes or somebody buys this business. Our promise to you aren't just marketing slogans, and they're baked into the blockchain immutably as a smart contract. You don't have to trust that we won't be naughty. And this is only now possible because of Ethereum, and that's really cool. The trust computer, the world computer, right? So about our product, I've just been ranty up until now, and I'm going to be a bit salesy now. So I'm going to come back to this non-custodial. So it's jargon and gibberish for the most part, but I have no access rights. So on the nice side, it means kind of pro-decentralization people who love this space don't have to trust me and don't think that I'm touching their money. On the flip side, it means that if someone's laundering money or doing something nefarious through my product, I can't actually do anything. So we've deployed a Visa card, and if you come to the pub afterwards, I'll buy you drinks with the only non-custodial card, and I'll show you how that works. Non-alcoholic drinks too, water's fine as well. What this custody means here is I can't twiddle. I can't cheat the system. I can't cheat the auditor. I can't make up numbers. Actually, it has other negative effects as well. You can see how many users we have if you look on the chain, right? You can see how well we're doing as a business. So it comes with flip sides. We don't have many users right now. We launched a couple of weeks ago, and we're testing. It's an alpha. So for me, when we were sat with the regulator and we were telling about this, I guess the penny dropped for me that these guys knew what they were talking about. When they went, so if you guys fall off the face of the planet, nothing happens to your users' funds. You pose no risk to your users' funds. They went, that's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks. I've never quoted, never thought I'd be quoting the FCA. So why is this non-custodial thing important? We all know about this. And today we know about this. And if you look at, I think this is you guys.
What happens to
Binance? $40 million worth of Bitcoin was stolen last night from their exchange. 7,000 Bitcoin, centralized entity, custodial access to funds. Again, in a regulated world, in the old world, these funds would have just been written off, right, by governments or whoever's issuing the money. I don't know if something bad like that happened. No? Okay, no. Anyway, I don't know about these things. I was looking at someone who might know, but thank you. Anyway, these are reasons why you shouldn't trust centralized entities with your monies. You shouldn't leave your money in an exchange.
Just print more money.
Print more money? Thank you. Anyway, I don't know. So this is some numbers. I should know. I should cite where the source is. Maybe if these ever go online. So, what if I was?
If you had to find sources, what you said.
Okay, yeah. Most of it's opinion, which I think is fine. So if you look at the amount of hacks which happened last year, the numbers are big. I think the one which stands out is $2.7 million lost a day if you average it out. And I guess what I'm going to show you, and what I hope people who are interested in this space, when you ask me questions about, is this Ethereum native app. So we've developed a smart contract which which we believe mimics what a consumer bank looks like, your current account looks like. It has a list of payees, it has a daily spend limit, which you can interact with. Each of our users deploy an instance of this smart contract, which again governs the relationship between us and our users. This smart contract, we have no access rights to. The experience which we've built, which I'm going to show you, allows a user to go from this smart contract, which they own and they govern, to fiat. Please tell me time. Tell me time. Okay. And this relationship with our users is 2,500 lines of Solidity code, mostly comments. And it's all live, actually. I'll share links afterwards. You can see the smart contracts. And this, for me, as a software guy, is kind of weird, right? I'm building something which is immutable, and if anyone came up to me and went, let's write 2,500 lines of code and have 900 unit tests and do static analysis on it, or, play around with formal verification, I'll be like, you're mad, especially in a small company like us. But yeah, this is the code. I'll link you to it. And I'll show how that works. So that isn't, you can't fling ether that, or you could fling ether that if you wanted. If you have a QR reader, that goes to Etherscan, which is my kind of smart contract, and you can see it there. I'll leave it up. I'll show you after. There's enough of you. I can show all of you one by one afterwards. So this concept of participation, it's important to note, we're a crowdfunded business. What we've built, or what people bought into, was this idea that if we build this new type of card and this new type of experience, that everyone pays a 1% fee. This 1% fee goes into backing our token. Our token becomes a back token of the spending of people online. So as people spend, it backs our token. So with this new banking experience, it's participatory from my point of view, if you can get your hands on a computer and you can make an Ethereum transaction. Yeah. So don't put your financial destiny in control of other people. So we believe in this concept of self-sovereign finance. Ben brought this concept of self-sovereign identity to me, which is really interesting. That work is great. There's some great projects there. I'm really interested in it. Yeah, we're delivering self-sovereign finance, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, it is. It's kind of cool. So I'm just going to demo now. And again, jumping the gun. I have to use QuickTime, and yeah. So this is my phone. This is all live. I have to type in some numbers to get in. So the user's private key lives on their phone. The private key is encrypted using the secure enclave, the secure element, and the private key never leaves the user's phone. This is the bit where people get annoyed at me because I don't do justice to it. So this experience here is a smart contract. The users have some tokens within their smart contract. They have an owner address. If you lose this address at the moment, your funds are gone. Yeah, bye-bye. You can send and receive like a normal wallet. This isn't a normal wallet. This is a smart contract. These are the security features at the bottom. So one, we kind of prompt you and make sure that you back up your seed. This needs to be fixed as a user experience. You have a set of whitelisted addresses which you can send infinite funds to. You have a daily spend limit, which we calculate using an oracle, using CryptoCompare's APIs to get kind of prices for. So if in the case where someone compromises your private key, all they can do is spend your daily spend limit or send funds to one of your whitelisted addresses. And we think what we've done is kind of limited the damage of someone compromising your key. And we're trying to get our head around what we can do to help people recover from a situation whereby they've had their private key, they've lost their private key. So if you haven't backed up your private key, your mnemonic phrase, in this app, and you lose your phone, you're screwed. Yeah, that's a technical term. That's a technical term. Yeah. So, and then we have the card aspect of it, and I mean it's really boring, and it's non-branded, but the branded ones are coming soon. allows you to top up your card. So here I have some ETH, and this is beer money. So if I go to top up my card, I can select a token. We let you use DAI, our token, and ETH. Our token means you don't pay any fees. ETH, you pay a fee. I'm just paying a fee. So I can top up 1 ETH now.
That's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much ETH. We're very welcome to accept ETH. Then I confirm with Face ID. So this is going to the secure element using operating system level security. So this is the OS level security. And now what's happened is I've authored an Ethereum transaction to send an address which we have on chain, which is our float, 1 ETH. We wait for some sort of finality. So I'm going to go to this transaction screen. And I'm going to go, this is a pending card top up. So if I go look at this on Etherscan, hopefully this will be in a pending state. And at some point, this will be confirmed. And once it's confirmed, based on some probabilistic model, depending on how much you're topping up, we will put fiat within your card, and you can spend that. So when I say we're non-custodian, at the moment we're piggybacking off someone's called e-money license with an issuing bank in the UK, and we're kind of sending out cards in the UK and in the EEA at the moment. We've sent out it's about 150 wallets at the moment. We're just letting people in nice and slow. We'll show you how you can get your hands on one of these if you want one, just to learn and to test and to perfect our app experience, really. So when this goes through, I will put money, there'll be money in my account. So this isn't my app, this is Ethereum being slow. Okay. So I think there was 89 not in there. At some point, I'll come back to this and it will have some cash in there. So that is the UX we have at the moment. So in order to have a non-custodial relationship or an ability to move to fiat, in this current instance, in this a prepaid card model, you have to send us ETH. Once we're happy that we've got it and the probability of the reorg happening is low enough, we'll give you, based on the amount of money, we'll give you that fiat and you can spend it. So basically as a business, what we're doing is managing floats, fiat floats, crypto floats, and we're just moving monies around in order to build an experience. It's worth noting that to get Visa over the hump and to get the regulator over the hump, that we're a non-custodian of users' funds which allow them to spend in fiat, we had to be super hot, thanks to you, super hot on all of the anti-money laundering, all the provisions, all the checks and balances which we put in place to say that we can confidently know or kind of check where the source of funds are coming from. So we don't sell crypto right now. You have to bring crypto to us. The story which we went to the regulator was, regulator, because it's a blockchain and it's immutable, we know the provenance of all monies. And as long as we're interacting with all the best service providers which label this graph with who the bad actors are, you can always see through backpropagation of this information on the graph where the bad money is. So we've built a risk model, we monitor people, we have a KYC and AML bar higher than any kind of challenger bank out there. We need to know who you are, we need to know where you live, we have entire visibility of where you're bringing your funds from. And again, this is a story which the regulator kind of got their head around. So it was $3 confirmation, I think, for 1 ETH. So theoretically now, if I refresh this, there'll be some pounds, yay. So we can spend beer. And I guess, for me, that's quite cool. So I'm gonna leave this. So there's the really boring stuff, right? You can see your transactions. You can see that I just buy food and coffee because I live in East London, expensive coffee. £2.70, it's not that expensive. Anyway, right, so this is all the normal stuff, hygiene stuff. And I think, in short, we built an Ethereum project and a challenger bank in 2 years, and I think that's pretty bloody awesome, to be honest. And a challenger bank which actually challenges the status quo, but yeah, anyway. Oh, yeah. So, thank you all, that's it from me. I have some caveats. So, this is my challenger bank idea. And there's some summaries. So, we've delivered on a white paper with no compromise. We have a strong legal position within the UK and EU. about building this participatory bank. I can talk to you about why and how this works offline. I think at the moment, just to be clear, your fiat balance there's some custody involved there. There is a UK bank, a regulated UK bank, which holds that. And then ultimately, the government will underwrite that, I think. Come on, nod, 5 minutes? I'll be done before that. People are telling us that they don't like this fiat exposure. We have this thing called the zero balance card, which we have a prototype for. We have to get the regulator and Visa comfortable with this. So this would mean that we would have a side ledger, which we look at, and we would tie it using like a cursor, which you would to blocks and state of the blockchain. And if you put your bank into a cash machine, it would always say 0. But when you spent it, we would be able to know whether you had enough funds. And it will kind of work like an escrow. So you'd have a smart contract, which you deposit some ETH in, you put some ETH in it, and both TokenCard and the user would be able to pull from it with a time lock, and we would be able to give you a swipey experience. So you wouldn't even have to have that fiat exposure. We're working on that now. The next thing which we need to work on, and just to be clear, and like I'm picking up Ethereum here, that wouldn't be possible without Ethereum, and that's kind of cool. I'm sure there's other chains out there where you can do it now, but this is where we're at. So we are custodians of your KYC data. Yeah. We're looking at how we can do the self-sovereign identity. We're following the space. I do see a vision where we can not proliferate PII data. The key is getting law enforcement and the regulator on board. But the stuff which we can do, and we're thinking about a two-pronged approach where we make these attestations and give a key the decryption key for this PII data to the regulator and to the police, essentially, the cybersecurity team. Let them prove that they can use it when they need to use it. So over time, maybe we can start deleting the data which we hold. But personally identifiable information, personal data, I think PII is the wrong term with GDPR now. I like this stuff as well, sad, it's really sad. And then finally, how can I use zero-knowledge tech to bring up credible privacy to a non-custodial world? So Apple makes claims that with their Apple Card, they can't see your transactions. Goldman Sachs can see your transactions, which is fine. I think there is a solution with zero-knowledge proofs, and whereby the act of a user, like topping up their zero-knowledge kind of monies on Ethereum will be a public transaction on-chain, and then everything under there would be private only to the user and to us, because we need to appease the regulator. And there's some nice projects in London. The Aztec guys are really interesting. Aztec protocol, really interesting. ETH-Snarks is really interesting. I love that. But it would just be a premium service. And just to be clear, because I can't make money from your money, we need to get paid. Everything we do, we need to get paid. And what we like is transparency. Ultimately, I'd like to build a service, and this is something which one of Mel says, in the same way as Uber claims that they're the biggest cab company in the world without any cabs, the Airbnb are the biggest hotelier in the world without anything on inventory. If we could build something which could be the biggest consumer banking experience with no consumer funds, that would be really cool. And in the same way as people pay a subscription for Spotify to have music, if we could give you banking services on a subscription, then in the same way as me ranting about business models of centralized entities which hoard money being in direct conflict with our users, if users are paying us a fee for a service, we're aligned that we have to build and deliver value to the users for them to pay to us. And all of this stuff just blows my mind. So, yeah, if you want to build this stuff with us, we're hiring. I'm Mischa, that's TokenCard. We have a Discord channel which people talk. Yeah. And then if you want to sign up, you can live and sign up now on the Alpha channel. And it's not, it's iOS only, yeah, sorry.
When will it be Android?
When Android is the forever question. So,
like 80% of the market.
It is, yeah. It's even about 60% of our market when we looked at it. People are starting next week. So all of the infrastructure is React Native. The only bits of the infrastructure which we built using native code are the things which touch the secure element and would do the signing. So most of the app experience is already there, and I'm hiring 2 people to just come in and blitz through the Android stuff. So I'm not going to give you a timeline. Any other questions?
Is that one of your investors?
I don't know, actually. We don't have investors, contributors, I think is.
Okay, might be a very stupid question. Why no physical card?
We have a physical card, man. I'm going to buy you beer afterwards with a physical card. Yeah.
So I don't. Okay, so why no web, not a web app? So I can.
I mean, so because on the web, we would have to go into ledgers and we would have to go into this space of hardware wallets. What we're doing is we're trying to build a credible solution where your private key lives on your phone, right? And it's just, yeah, it doesn't seem right. I don't want to walk around dangling with some kind of hardware wallet around my neck, trying to do that in software on a phone. Pardon? Yeah, I don't do Android. There is a physical card. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why we're called TokenCard.
So I need. Okay, so I need my girlfriend's iPhone. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, or your boyfriend's iPhone. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we're inclusive like that.
He has Android.
Okay.
The fiat position with your bank. So
Yeah.
if your bank board decide they don't want to be involved in crypto.
I think that's a risk to our business, which is a very big risk. And what we're trying to do is mitigate that by having as many relationships as possible. So something which I do in other talks which I've given is we're a crowdfunded company. No UK bank has given us a bank account. Yeah, right? Just to be clear. So we have European banking partners whose risk appetite is different. I think like none of the big guys, HSBC, RBS, none of them have given us a bank account. They just look at us. Actually, none of the big auditors, the top 4 auditors, would audit us, which is just fucking ridiculous, to be honest. And all we want them to do is like look at our funds or look at our compliance docs. They wouldn't even audit our compliance regime on how we do KYC because we're a crowd-funded entity. The regulator knows this. We put pressure on them. We tell the FCA, we're like, come on guys, what's going on? All we have to do is show that we can be a credible company and that we can deliver value in a way which, yeah, isn't kind of, I don't know, abusing users' trust, basically. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Can I give a second answer to that?
Please.
So the way we imagine the user using our experience right now is that like 98% of their funds are stored in their own control in their wallet in crypto, and then that they only have like minimal fiat exposure on the card. So you would only have like £100 or £1,000 on the card at a time, and top it up from the Ethereum network whenever you need. So that even if our custodial bank goes down, you're not losing like 100 grand worth of stuff.
I guess the question is, what does it do to our product? Yeah.
I get the clients have got their risk worried, that's cool. But it was just more for you guys. What's it?
I mean, it's not great for us. Yeah. All we have to do is build relationships, prove that we can be good actors, prove that we are systems, and the pitch which we've given them about how, like, basically you're an idiot to do fraud on the system because of the provenance of the data on chain is actually a credible argument. And this is what we believe. We're going to try and show this over time. Yeah, and then there was one at the back.
How confident are you that mobile phones are secure operating systems suitable for storing private keys?
Okay, so I'm the wrong person to answer this, but he's our hardware guy or trustology guy. Go on, Yanis. Yeah, there's another speaker talking about this, actually. That's their specialism. At the moment, I trust iOS. So I trust libcrypto, which ships with the SDK. So I have no third-party libraries, but I have an implicit trust on Apple and the architecture, the Intel architecture, which they're providing, which they call the Secure Enclave. Intel SG something, you guys will know this. I have some trust there, which I'm outsourcing to basically Apple right now. When I move to Android, this is why we chose to go Apple first. Android doesn't have a unified experience. With iOS, you can go back a few generations, probably iPhone 6-ish, the last 2 or 3 generations, and they have some assurances around the trust. Maybe you can speak about this better than me. So there is implicit trust there.
Yeah, that's a good
And on the non-tech guys would be nice.
Any more questions?
Jan, or that guy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you have a question? Did you?
Yeah, he answered my question.
Okay. Jan?
Question about KYC, right? Where
And that's a great question. So from a GDPR point of view, when you apply for the card, you become, we're joint, and we're going to argue about this a bit, we're both joint data controllers of your data. You are creating an account with an issuing bank in the UK. You do open banking stuff. So the KYC requirement is both on us and on them. So because they're our users and we're facilitating their going to fiat, we have to hold this KYC information for 6 years after you leave our product. But the issuing bank underneath gets that data too. So on both us and the issuing bank, and that depends on jurisdiction. Does that make sense?
But is that tied to you being in the business of trading
Crypto to fiat. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily.
So yeah, with our product, that's a good question. So our product, there is a wallet there with all of these smart contract stuff which you can use and deploy and give yourself assurances around whether or not, if someone compromises your key, you get some protection. So all of that stuff you can have and use without ever going to the card. Our crypto to crypto behavior, which is facilitated through our application, is from our point of view, we don't monitor it. We don't ask you for PII. We don't ask you to identify who you are. We don't know those customers. As soon as you want to go from crypto into fiat, we have to know who you are. And we ask you lots of information. And the only assurances we can give to people is at a legal level and in terms of service level, saying that we're not going to profit from that in any other way. I can't do anything on chain about that right now, hence why we're looking at these self-sovereign identity solutions. There was a question, the one behind, I think, and then.
Yes, so I was just wondering, is there any way that someone can see from your app who I am on like the Ethereum blockchain? Like, can they actually see how much money I have eventually?
I mean, so we don't put any information about you on chain. So lots of people ask about ENS support. And yeah, like, why can't I add my ENS to this? I don't want to force users to put their ENS, but if someone wants to identify themselves on the chain to say that this is them, that's fine. If, for example, you use the app to send your friends some ETH because they bought dinner or whatever, they could socially engineer that that's who you are because the chain is immutable and the data lives there forever. I mean, that's that. So, I mean, if you have lots of money, you're probably not going to put all of it in the one place. You're probably going to put it in different places, or put some of it in cold storage, or put some of it on a ledger, or your trustology, yeah. But yeah, this is why I'm interested in the zero knowledge side of things. I think there is a world, and I'm happy to talk about this offline, where you can be more private on Ethereum. It's just costly, and it's all new tech at the moment. That said, even with my imagined zero knowledge implementation, okay, I'm done. The fact how much money you have and how much you put into the dark bit of Ethereum will always be public. And yeah.
Cool. Next speaker without drinks, yeah?
Without drinks.
Sorry.